What's up, everybody? Welcome to SupFM, your fucking favorite sneaker podcast. I am one of your hosts, Chris Cheney. Across from me, virtually, I got my two partners in crime. One being Luke Trevisi. What's up, buddy?
What's up, guys? Pew pew. We're here.
Pew pew, you fucking. And of course, also with me, one of my day ones right here, Lawrence Deloach. What's going on, bro?
Hey, good afternoon, sir.
I'm happy to be back. I missed last week. You know, I caught a little bit of it. Haas was talking a little crazy, but I love that guy regardless. You know what I mean? And now all three of us, I believe, have our episodes out with him. So please go check out his podcast, First Kicks.
Well, first though, before we even get, what do you mean he was talking crazy? Haas was a great guest, all right?
Of course, he's a great guest.
Yeah.
But from what I caught from him with the mischief stuff, talking about all that Satan shit, which we'll get into a little later, you know what I mean? I feel like he was speaking a little out of pocket here and there. A little out of pocket, but that's just me. I mean, what do you disagree, Lawrence?
I mean, my memory from last week to this week is very foggy, so I don't remember everything Haas said, but I do remember we were talking about the devil sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
And as a Christian, God-fearing man who's scared of, like, you know, going to hell, I don't remember much, but I got to go back and listen to it.
Yes, plead the fifth, Lawrence. Of course, that's the best way to keep going to heaven.
I do remember him saying that he's been on Mischief for a minute, and then he said he's been watching them for like a year. So,
yeah, basically that's where I was like, we talked about that the first shoe over a year ago, I believe.
Over a year ago. He was like, I was the only one. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know about that. But anyway, not to plug him and not plug us, Luke, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at Trevisis on Instagram and Twitter. I'm mostly on Instagram. If you go on my Instagram and check my link in the bio, you will find a clip of me doing stand-up called Luke Trevisi Does a Cocaine Joke, and I highly recommend you watch that.
Watch that. It's a great clip, bud.
Thank you.
Yes,
Lawrence,
sir.
where can they find you?
You can find me at LZD325. You can also follow my other podcast, which is called I Hate This Job, which Luke actually he did one of the latest episodes. It was an amazing episode. People loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, we're going to get you on soon too.
Oh, yeah.
And talk shit about jobs that we hate. And Chris?
At Not That Cheney, Cheney. And of course, follow the podcast, SupPodcast NYC on Instagram. We're mostly Instagram people over here. We like visuals, not words, you know? So make sure to follow us on that. And then we also have a Discord, which is always in the link in the description, which is always the hangout. So if you agree with us, we're about Haas talking out of pocket, you can go to the Discord and let them know.
Mm-hmm. Another thing, Chris, when you do Lawrence's podcast, my advice to you, choose the would you rather. He gives you an option of a spelling bee or would you rather. Do the would you rather.
Oh, I can't spell for sure. So yeah,
right.
totally.
I came in with a lot of confidence off the top, and I thought I was going to be able to do the spelling bee. 2 out of 3 I got wrong. And my friends who are English majors reached out to me, and they were like, "How could you do this to us?"
wait. How are you friends with people that are still English majors?
No. Like they graduated already.
Yeah,
oh, okay. I thought you were you had children friends that you had.
Suspect.
Let's just get right into it. I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to bring the podcast down, but this needs to be addressed. Rest in peace, Earl Simmons, Darkman X, DMX.
What?
X.
What?
Just a transcendent talent who, shaped the lives of many people.
Absolutely.
As a kid who, I was a kid in the 90s when DMX rose to fame. I mean, there wasn't a kid in New York City who wasn't barking, who didn't, sing "Get at Me, Dog," "Stop, Drop," "Open Up Shop." You know what I mean? It was, and just to see his life over the last 20 years in the public eye, whether it was the ups and the downs, to see him pass away after a week-long battle in the hospital, being on life support, it hurts, obviously. And I guess this is more of a celebration segment for him. But what were how did DMX change your lives, guys, or his music or his personality, or talk a little bit about X, Luke?
I remember when I was a kid and like DMX, so I was like 7 or 8 when DMX was like popping off, and I remember being in class as a kid and they were teaching us fire safety, which is like the classic moment that everybody gets where it's like, they go stop, drop. And then there was a kid next to me who whispered in my ear, "Shut him down, open up shop." And I was like, there was snot coming out of my nose. So it's like one of my favorite moments. And they were like, what happened? Share with the class what he just said. And I couldn't speak. It was so funny. But that's my only DMX story. Like I've watched DMX kind of over the years and like all of the stuff he's been in. He did that one thing with Chris Rock where he's like singing in the jail cell. I remember that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like he's always just been a constant in my life in some way. Like there's either a reference from somebody or you're seeing him on TV or whatever. You just felt like he was never going anywhere, and it's very sad to see him go.
I mean, he is such a transparent figure when it comes to just being honest with yourself. I mean, so he is like a hood guy, right? But as he transcended from that into being like this hip hop star, you know, there's that classic thing where he's like with the orchids or whatever, and he's doing the plants, and he's like, you know, I just realized that you just got to give it time and effort. It's shit like that where you're like, oh, the growth. You got to see this guy grow as a human, like in all his ups and downs with addiction. I mean, more importantly, like not only to celebrate his life, but we have to make sure that we identify that this is an addiction thing where us as a country, we don't really get to sort of isolate the problem and really identify it like we can now. And, you know, addiction is a huge thing. So it's not only to celebrate him, but also identify that there is an issue with this addiction situation that we have in this country, especially with the opioid epidemic and hitting other places. And hopefully, I don't know the full details. I hope this wasn't like a fentanyl situation that went wrong. You know what I mean? Because like motherfuckers would be putting that shit in everything now. I was lucky enough to have a few words with him. So the Spray Ground office, which you guys, I don't know if you remember, but is also the same office as Rock Nation. They're like, I'm on the top there. I remember when Jay was kind of, do you guys remember when Jay got Ja and X back in the room together and they kind of had that Murder Inc. talk of like a reunion or whatever?
I do remember this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I still smoked at the time. I was coming in from a cigarette and I'd see like people here and there. Like I saw Jay once or twice. I never had a word with him, but you know, there'd be rappers in and out the building. But I saw X and he was coming out. I mean, he was going out. I was coming in. And he was with like 5 dudes or some shit. Not like a huge posse, but he was with some people. And I didn't realize it was him. And I looked up and I went, oh shit, X, what up? And I swear to God, I'm not lying. I swear to God, he growled. He went, what up? And he just kept it pressing. I was like, this guy's a fucking legend. Yeah. I don't give a shit what anyone says. That man growled at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you, as a kid growing up in New York City, you know, I just remember, you know, hearing Get At Me Dog, but before Get At Me Dog, you would just hear him like, you know, I remember him being on Mace's 24 Hours to Live and just outshining everyone, you know, Money, Power, Respect. These are songs that his presence was so strong that like he had to go last on the track. Of course. Like, you know, it was like the Busta Rhymes, like you can't overpower this man. And, you know, there was a time, and I will always say this, that, you know, 98, you know, DMX was a bigger figure than Jigger. You know, I mean, he was bigger than Jay. Mm-hmm. You know, there was the, oh my God, like this guy is a superstar. He had the what I would call the residual people saying, man, this guy could be the next Tupac. Bald head, you know, very charismatic. You know, he had his own thing about him. I remember him dropping the double album, not the double albums, but the 2 albums in the 6-7 month span, being number 1. And it was like, what the fuck? Like, you know, you go from It's Dark and Hell Is Hot to Flesh of My Flesh, and it's like, yo, he's getting better. Like, it's not even a drop. And I remember just, you know, him being so strong that we couldn't wear in my junior high school. It was maybe high school. You know, we couldn't wear red because of that whole Get At Me Dog, the whole blood significance, that, you know, that whole thing that was going on back then. I remember, man, some of my friends, they got sliced in the face.
Damn.
Yeah, man. It was because, you know, it was like, you know, late 90s. We were young. We was, you know, 14, 15-ish, you know, young kid, 13, you know, I don't even remember, but it was young. And, you know, this guy was just, you know, the Rough Riders and everything they, you know, it was a fucking movie, man. Imagine being a young kid, but imagine being an adult at that time when, you know, being around the Rough Riders, man. Wow, you get emotional. You hear all the songs and you're like, fuck, like you always, like I would listen to these songs all the time, like before X passed away, and you would just be like, money, cash, like you hear all that and you're like, damn, or like, you know, slipping and all that. And then like to hear it now, you know, just, man, it's mind blowing to me. So.
You know what's great though is that we did get like a last bit of content from him this year. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he did a Drink Champs. I haven't gotten to listen to it, but I've been seeing a lot of clips about it, and he had some wise words there. He did a verses with Snoop. You know what I mean? So he got to like remind us quickly before he got taken away from us, you know, of like who he is and shit. which is great. We usually don't get that with some of these guys.
Well, the drink, not only the drink champs, but the verses, like you said, the verses was, I mean, come on, man, that right there was legendary to see him and Snoop.
Yo, I just loved how he did not care that some of his songs did not age well, and he said them anyway. Some of the shit he said in that verses was crazy. I was like, bro, you can't say that now. But no, he didn't. It was pure and it was dope. You know, A-Life had a session with him. I unfortunately had to leave early. It was like 1 a.m. and it was like a work night. I believe it was like a Wednesday night or some shit. It was in the financial district, and I had to dip because I had work the next day. But like the place was still packed. That's how much respect people had for him and wanted to see him. You know what I mean? Like it was like Wednesday 1 a.m. and it was a full club. I'm like, damn, I gotta go. He didn't go up till 2.
Was this the background shows from back in the day?
It wasn't in the back. It was at like some place and they rented a spot. Because it was after they left the company that they were with at the time. So there was something going on there with, I don't know. Oh, you know what it was? They thought they weren't going to be able to handle all the people in the back, I think. So that's why they rented a spot.
That's a testament to DMX right there.
Yeah, they only did that with a couple people, and he was one of them. I think after the second Drake session, they were like, "Oh, we need to outsource the space for certain people," and he was one of them.
Let's talk a little bit about his because obviously this is a streetwear podcast, and you know, and I look back on that era when rappers fucking sold clothes. Like it was like you could sell like Rockaware, you know, Rough Riders, you know, Fat Farm, Fubu, all that shit. And, you know, and X was street, like, you know, it wasn't no, like, you know, he wasn't out there, I'm rocking Jordan 3s and Jordan, that motherfucker was wearing Timbs.
Yep.
You know, I look at the clip from him in Woodstock. That's to me, one of the most, it's iconic.
Oh, is that the red overall?
Oh, red overalls and red Timbs.
Yep.
And it's like, that was his style, man. Like, it wasn't no flashy chains. He had like, you know, the one chain usually around his neck, you know what I mean? And it was
his accessory were pit bulls, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it right here. Wow. Could you just turn on screen share?
Meanie's not here, so we're gonna fall apart. You should.
No, we're not gonna fall apart. We're fine.
No, we're fine.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, he had a very it was very genuine. Like everything about him was very genuine. He put himself out there very much. A lot. We didn't really appreciate it. At least I didn't appreciate it at the time.
Yeah, it sucks, man. Like you know, you always, hindsight's 20/20. Like you always realize shit after. You know what I mean? It's like you never want to like admit that you didn't appreciate it when you had it, but like after I saw that his kids were flying in, I was like, oh man, he's fucking toast, dude. He's DMX now, you know. So I was really jamming out the other night, and I was like, damn, I haven't been listening to this shit enough. He had that one Locks joint he just did about shit. And I was like hyped that I got some 2020 barks, you know what I mean? But like, you got to go back to the 98 barks too.
Well, I mean, 98 barks, you know, if you're I hate this comparison, but if you're like a wrestling fan from like the old days, like his style and who he was reminded me of like the Ultimate Warrior, like fucking intense, rip your head off, leave. Like, you know what I'm saying? Run to the ring, shake the ropes, leave. Like, you know what I mean? It was just like, he was so intense, bro. Like you just hear him and you feel like the pain on the tracks, you feel the intensity, and it's just you won't. There's never a rapper or you know that we've had since then or that will ever you know compare to that what he brought to the table.
Whenever I have like pre-show anxiety, X is usually the guy I go to listen to music to like kind of just get into a zone. Like X is that guy, man.
You just throw on what these bitches want, and you're like, yes,
exactly. They want me.
Yeah, man. So you know, rest in peace, X. You know what I mean, and you know, play your favorite tracks. Keep you know, just you know, there's a lot of memories that you know that man provided for this world, and yeah, that's the best way I think we can close this X. Segment. So
do yourself a favor and go watch the clip. If you do nothing else, go watch him sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. That is one of the best things that exists on the internet.
Oh. Yeah. It's amazing. So, all right, guys, let's talk about some other stuff. We got a lot of other things to talk about this week.
We got a lawsuit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is getting resolved. This is man, Nike is just throwing out lawsuits left and right whenever they can.
Mm-hmm. So we've got the Lil Nas X, Satan shoe. We've got an update on this situation. Did you guys actually read this story? Do you know what's going on with this?
I don't think I'm fully up to date, so any info that you got for me, any insight would be great, Luke.
I believe that they are going to cancel, they're going to cancel any orders. Mischief is going to give them an opportunity to refund the pairs.
Oh, we're doing a Warren Lotus part 2.
I believe so. I think this is the situation, you know? I think it's because it's kind of like the same thing that happened with the Warren Lotus situation where, you know, if they had not made such if they had not branded it so closely to Nike, like, you know, you see the swoosh and all the pictures and whatnot, it really fucked with the image. You knew it was going to be a problem when we covered it the week before, and then all of the major outlets are like putting out this news, and then everybody in the comments of every fucking video is like, how could Nike do this and blah blah blah, and like, no, you idiots, it's not Nike that's putting it. But like the second people start going, how could Nike do this, that's when they gotta do something, because it's like, no, you know.
Well, this seems to be like the new way to get like some serious attention, and I don't want to discredit Lil Nas X though on this rollout, because like that song that he came out with along with this, and then he did some other like little sly shit on the side, but like the rollout for that video, like alongside this and like the devil motif and all that, like that was great. But I mean, like that lawsuit, it's like you know, that was like the real hammer and the nail for him as far as grabbing people's attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I think, and I honestly, I'm going to say this. I think there was never an intent to actually sell them. I think it was the intent, or I think the main thing that was trying to be done was the publicity. I didn't want to say it too fast, I probably would have fucked it up. But the publicity, I think when you have all these media outlets covering it, when you have, when this is a CNN story, and like Luke was saying, I think there were people that was actually like, fuck Nike, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. And Nike ain't they don't want that smoke, but Mischief is getting all this publicity. They're getting all this attention. So
is that the move now? Like, should we try to get sued by Nike so our podcast can get through the roof to the moon, bro?
I've been saying this for a minute. Let's call Dexter. Let's make the Let's Get Sued ones. Let's get this done, man.
Jesus Christ, man. Yeah. That's
the move. You just got to get sued by Nike. Maybe we should go with another brand. Let's get sued by Adidas somehow. Really mix it up.
We got to go smaller. Got to go smaller than it, because we can't deal with all of those lawyers from Adidas, right? We can't deal with Nike lawyers. We can't deal with Adidas. Let's go smaller. Do we have a smaller brand we can think of? Maybe Puma?
I mean,
Puma got lawyers too, bro. Like,
yeah, but Jay-Z, I know that, but Jay-Z owns Puma, like is working with Puma. Maybe we can meet Jay-Z. Cool. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, you're on the board of directors of Nike, bro. I don't know.
I'm working on it still, man. It's not canon yet.
Oh, right. My fault.
Yeah, man. I think this is another situation like that. Like, how is this going to change? How do you guys think this is going to change, like, the customizing landscape? How do you think this is going to affect?
It's so hard to tell, man, because this is literally like an evolving thing at like week to week. Like this has gotten crazier and crazier. You know what I mean? Like, I think we were in the forefront talking about it, especially with the Warren Lotus thing. But even before that, we've had debates about, shit like Bape and all this other shit. But I mean, like, it's literally just such a fluid thing right now where, like that shit with like, Warren Lotus, this, Lil Nas, and then, even Bape going back to making more Nike ripoffs. They're not getting touched on. It's like it's growing at such an expansive rate that it's really hard to see where this goes. The labels of things have gotten so blurred. Like what's a replica, versus what's a bootleg versus what's a custom. Like it's really all the same word right now. So until things get a little more defined, until there's a couple more lawsuits that I think draw some lines to make a square, I don't know really where this is going to take itself, because there's no boundaries right now.
I was gonna say, man, and I've always said, I mean, I look at a guy like even Dexter, the creator, where I look at it on his social media and I'm like, man, this is like you're on the fucking fence, bro. You're on that line where I think like and I think it becomes one of those things where it's like, okay, what's the actual objective? Is it to move my custom sneakers, or to get my shit so hot that now Nike is now, it becomes a public Warren Lotus situation? I don't know, because I mean, I'm looking at, I'm looking at some of the stuff he was putting in, and it's very close and very.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think I was thinking of that interview as well that we had with him, where he said that it all comes down to intent, right? So like he kind
Yeah.
of approaches it more, I guess, like sneakers as an art form, and we were still on the fence about him until he showed us in his interview that he was gonna, like, he showed us how he makes the shoes, and then at that point it's like you're putting in all of this work for to be accused of certain things that you might not be doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's like, when you see that level of like effort that someone like Dexter puts in, it's it's interesting. It's very interesting to see like what he's doing like on that end.
Well,
And
yeah, because it becomes a craft. You know what I mean? It becomes a skill. It becomes a point where it's not like, debate who does what, where, and why. But I mean, like when you're handcrafting something, that's more important. That overtakes the infringement, I think, on the IP.
Yeah, and he's got like, because he's got like this new UV shoe that kind of it changes color. Like he's doing some interesting stuff, I will say.
Yeah.
Definitely gotta keep a close eye on him as usual.
Yes, sir. What else we got to talk about, guys? What else we talking about?
I mean, you know what's coming around the corner. It's the 10th right now, right? We're recording on a Saturday. 10 more days, and it's 420, baby. Let's talk about 420 shoes.
Yeah, let's talk about 420 shoes, because this is a very interesting topic to at least me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but like, now that weed's legal at New York City, it's about to get legal in a bunch of places. I mean, there's unfortunately still people, incarcerated for weed, but weed shoes have been around forever.
Right.
I can harken back to, I think, like 2004 or 5, maybe 6.
Wow, look at you. Look, someone read a book recently. Harken?
I harken back.
Yeah.
But back then, just to sort of like bring the topic, like, we're just talking about Nike suing everybody, whatever. They're not trying to have any fucking shit go on with their shit. But I mean, like, they were making weed shit when weed shit was not something to make.
Right.
Of course.
But now here we have, like, it's become like a streetwear sort of, I don't want to say holiday, but it's like a streetwear event. What is the Nike 420 shoe? Now we got these, like, what are they called? Maui somethings?
The Maui Wowies, baby.
Maui Wowies.
Yeah. Which is, they're following the trend of having a shoe under the shoe. You know what I mean? The peel off shit.
I don't know if it was because I was smoking weed, but I was thinking about these shoes the other day. And do you notice how most of the SB Dunks from the 420 collection are SB high? Never really noticed that before.
Oh, Luke, you fucking detective. Holy shit.
I put 2 and 2 together one day, and I was just like, oh, maybe that's what, because the high tops are notoriously like not as well received
they're
as lows.
Nope, they're better.
Right. But I'm telling you that like the general consumer doesn't like high tops as much. So I was like, why would they do that? Oh, SB Dunk high stash pocket. It's all part of the theme, you know?
What are you guys' thoughts on the Maui Wowies? 'Cause I think they're a very nice shoe.
Look, I mean, it's not for me. I can't rock around and wear these. Like, all over patterns on shoes are kind of crazy to me, but I think that's just because I look crazy in them. But like, as an object, these are great. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how it was in New York, but iPath was the brand that set off the stash pocket shit. And I told you guys this off mic, but I have a weird thing with the stash pocket, because a lot of my friends got in trouble because the cops in Boston knew the shoes with the stash pocket, and that gave them reasonable doubt, is that the verbiage, to search them. So like, they would see the stash pocket and they would be like, oh, you might have weed on you, and they would all get tapped up.
Probable cause.
Yeah, probable cause. That's what it is.
Yeah. No, I never ran into that, but also I never really had any of the stash pocket shoes. Even back then, they were always highly coveted, so I could never really get my hands on them. What about you, Lawrence?
What are my thoughts on stash pockets in
no
general?
Like, did you ever have any experiences where like did the cops ever like have any semblance of knowing that you had a stash pocket shoe on you or whatever?
All right, I'm going to say this, and I'm thankful for it. I've never been searched by a police officer.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm really, I'm one of the few black men, I can say that on this pod, one of the very few black men in this world.
That's a credit in itself, man.
In itself. In terms of stash pocket shoes, and this is another thing I'm gonna say. Usually, I don't usually carry weed on me or anything, like any contraband. Usually, the most thing I'll carry on me would be like an edible, Yeah, but I don't like just to carry like actual like weed and shit. Nah, so I'm kind of thankful for that. But I don't mind the stash pockets. I mean, once again, it's what am I usually putting in? What would I put in there? I'm not gonna put food in a fucking stash pocket.
I put tater tots like I'm Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, I'm just trying to think of the main shoes that that have had stash pockets.
I mean, I don't know if this one has stash pocket, but just going back to the 420 concept in general, I think damn, I'm gonna blank on the name now. But what was the one that had the grass texture? The one that had the shades of green and then had the purple hits?
The skunks?
Yes, the skunks. Those are the ones. That's it. Those are the ultimate 420 ones.
Those are the first ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we first had, I was tracking like the kind of the history of the stash pocket, right? And it starts with Chad Muska, the skateboarder, super stoner, kind of created this stash pocket situation. Haven't really looked back since. And then when Nike, I think like because Nike had done it with the skateboarding brand, it was easier for them to get away with it.
Okay.
And my reasoning behind it is because the culture behind skateboarding already kind of associates with the stoner community as well. And skateboarding shoes didn't have the same hype that they did that they do now. So I think because they were able to like it was still kind of this underground society, they were able to kind of push the line on these sneakers to the point where they could get away with this stash pocket. And then now they're kind of a regular occurrence. Like the Bape Adidas ZX runners that I have, they have stash pockets too. And I didn't even notice. And like nobody really.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They have like two stash pockets the same
in the
way.
Tongue?
Yeah, in the Tongue. The same way the I don't know if you've seen like the stash pocket on the Grateful Dead's where it's like it's a zipper on the top of the tongue. It's like that.
Oh,
but,
wow.
Like, you know what? Like I didn't know that either. But they weren't advertising it. It's just kind of become like a kind of like normal thing in like sneaker world now, even with the Travis Scotts, right? Stash pocket on the side.
I mean, I hear you. The pockets thing, that's a little more apparent. That's a little more like military, like look at
cargo
my
pants kind of situation. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just keep remembering different times we'd just be like skating and the cop would go by and they'd see the shoes and they'd be like, all right, yo, stay right there. And then the guy would pull you. We're like, oh shit. I'm like, did anyone have anything? You know what I mean? It's like, it's just funny, man.
Well, it's so weird that like your cops were forced to be sneakerheads before sneakerheads were a thing.
I know.
It's well, all right. So, I mean, just to super clarify, these are like small town cops. When I say Boston cops, I mean like I was 20 minutes outside the city. So these guys had like really nothing better to do, bro. Like these guys just liked picking on kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
of course. They're shitheads from Massachusetts. Of course they're gonna like it.
I do like the idea of like a briefing where it's just like, all right, yeah, so so Bape just did this Adidas runner where now if you see the Bape Adidas, make sure you stop the kids and ask if they got anything on them.
Question, Chief. Is
yes.
the Bape the one with the monkey head? Is that the one?
Yes, it is the monkey head one. There's also a small cartoon monkey, so don't forget that one.
I can't keep up with these fucking kids and their fucking sneakers.
So the verdict is we're fucking with the Maui Wowies, right?
Yeah. In general, yeah. I mean, again, I can't wear them, but if I see them, I'm gonna dap whoever got them.
Are you tearing them off? Are you tearing off the what do you call it? That first layer, that blue layer, to get that green and red one underneath?
Well, actually, you know what? I would like to. I think maybe there's a discussion here too, because like you see that one you got your mouse on. For those listening just on Spotify or just audio, someone ripped it off very purposefully.
Mm-hmm.
So with these shoes in general, do we keep them fresh and then let them fall naturally, or do we rip them?
See, with that kind of like furry suede is like so iconic to me when it comes to the weed sneakers that I would have to tear that part, like that paneling off. I would have to have that showing.
I mean, to me, that's a better colorway in general than the all over. That's like way more wearable. But I mean, for this shoe, yeah, I guess you would rip them because you want the hairy suede. But I mean, like in general, I don't know what the move is on that.
Well, as someone who owns like Lance Mountain
Flex,
No, it's not flex. It's just as someone who owns Lance Mountains, I kept the white coat of paint on my white pair, and I kept the black coat of paint on the black pair. I didn't try to fuck around and just like do it, like say fuck it, I'm gonna take it off because I want the mismatched shoes or I want whatever. I was like, it can naturally happen, and I think that's what on these, if I was able to get a pair, I would just be like, fuck it, just don't force it.
Yeah, that also gives you an opportunity to kind of like, it kind of gives you free range to kind of fuck up the shoes too, right? Like you're kind of I'm more inclined to like wear these more often than some of my other sneakers because there's another layer for me to like kind of tear away, and have like a new shoe again almost.
You know what, too? I think you want to keep them fresh because there's that extra layer of, oh, you have them and you didn't rip them yet.
Well, that was what a problem was happening, especially with the Lance Mountains, where people would just like take the acetone paint and strip them, and then then after a while people would be like, I want to sell these, and then everyone was like, man, you already fucked the sneaker up, bro.
Yeah,
you ruined it. You know what I mean? They're
yours. Like they're yours now. You can't sell those.
Yeah, you can't do nothing with them. And if you did, you would have to do about retail. You can't like make money on them.
You probably have to do under, depending on, because you've ruined the sneaker basically.
Yeah, you did the experience. That's part of the experience of that shoe, or these styles of shoes. You know what I mean? Is actually doing that. So like once you take that away from the shoe, the value of that is, like you said, like probably less than half of whatever.
Chris, are you like playing the bongos?
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you doing that? Are you knocking on the table or something? Because I just heard a lot. Are you knocking?
Oh,
is that
this?
You? Yeah, what's that?
Oh, maybe I was doing that. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I got new headphones and they're noise canceling, so I can't.
You can't even hear what's going on.
I couldn't even hear myself doing that, so I apologize about that.
Yeah, the listeners are not going to be happy, but they're going to be like, just another thing Chris Cheney does. You know what I mean?
No, we'll fix this up.
I just want to remind the listeners, last week was Chris Cheney free. We went off without a hitch. We did not challenge Haas on a couple things. He did say something last week that I kind of want to discuss with you guys a little bit further. He said that storytelling is kind of moving away from from sneakers, and
this was the other thing that I want to talk about. So to fully recap, he said like the hats are kind of becoming in a space where people sort of treat them like sneakers.
Now you've designed a hat yourself, right?
Yeah, I have designed a hat, and you know what it is, dude? It's like the sneakers have gotten so expensive that people still have this void of, they need the experience of purchasing, wearing new. They just need a similar thing to sneakers that they can actually afford, and hats is a very close accessory in the same space. So a lot of people are trying to translate what they like from sneakers into hats. Lawrence, I think you can maybe sort of attest to this because you have a very vast Supreme hat collection.
Okay.
And I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I think a part of that is because it's one of the more affordable accessories that you can purchase at a regular rate. And have that same feeling of like, oh, new, walking out the door feeling good.
Yeah, I mean, there was like a stretch, maybe like 6, 7 years ago. I was just buying a hat every week. You know what I mean? Like it was just and what's the best way to put it? Like it is an affordable accessory. And, you pay. I mean, it's not. It starts adding up when you're paying $50. $50 every week. But yeah, it was like I said, it was one of those things, man. And it obviously, I mean, what would you rather pay, $40 for a hat or $200 for a pair of sneakers? I mean, the shit, Yeah,
that's what I'm kind of saying, especially with the resale prices the way they are. You know what I mean? Like none of us have the budget to cop the sneakers like we used to, but we can afford some hats. Now, Luke, kind of expound on what Haas was saying as far as the translation of storytelling going from sneakers to hats.
So like he used like pink brims as like an example, as like one of the examples. So he was like saying how, his design choices, like having the pink brim is kind of a symbolization of like the kind of the breast cancer awareness, right? So that kind of evolved into like this style where now you walk into a Lids and you'll find like a pink brim bottom for some of these hats, right? Some of the embroidery was like custom made and chosen to be like some of these things. And my issue with that was I should have challenged him on the next time he's on here. We will have a full discussion with him because or we'll probably fight about it in the Discord this week too. If you're in the Discord, links in the bio too. Join that shit. So he said like embroideries are one thing where they kind of tell the stories, and he says that it's bringing more storytelling elements to streetwear than sneakers are. I don't know if I agree with that at this point, because I've seen a lot of shoes that tell different stories. Like we didn't really go into them, but like the Adidas Campus C's, they have a South Park collaboration coming out, which is another 420 shoe.
Oh, Towley, yep.
Yeah, they have like a Towley one, and I think like the storytelling behind that, they made some good choices, because like I think people overlook the fact that somebody has to go, can we make that a towel kind of material? Can we do this with it? Can we do that with it? Like somebody's asking questions, right? Chris, as somebody you've designed some sneakers in your day, you've had to ask some very strange questions about sneakers to have some of the decisions that you made, right?
Yeah, actually, even just to go off the reference you just said, I mean, Spray Ground, we had a Towley drop, and we had to work very hard to get a waterproof towel material that functioned correctly. So yeah, I've asked some very weird things. This is one of those ones that was probably a nightmare to produce. I wouldn't be surprised if they worked on this shoe for like 3 years.
Yeah, is it because of the UV? Like, have you worked with UV before?
Yeah, all this stuff is just really hard to work with, especially because you have to think about like when you do one sample, a sample is very easy to do, but then you have to think about mass producing it.
Yeah.
And then there's the trials and tribulations with that. But yeah, the finding the material, the getting it to, going back to kind of what Earl was talking about when we had her on, like the cost and the wages of all this stuff, especially to find different places, like what factory makes where and what. So yeah, it's a nightmare sometimes.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it gets overlooked sometimes when it comes to the storytelling elements. I think we have a lot of examples of very good storytelling in sneakers that aren't just Nikes either,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like another one that I wanted to bring up, if you guys are cool with it, we could talk about something else right now, but I want to talk about the
Talk about it.
550s, bro.
Talk about it.
Those 550s from ALD, kind of continuing that same kind of, revival kind of theme that they've been using for these 550s. We have kind of this yellow and green pattern on one, and then like a black and red, or is it more like a red and blue? We can't really see. But we're back here again with the 550s and this kind of old kind of style feel. How do we feel about the second take of the Aimé Leon Dore 550s?
I mean, they just smash it again. It's hard to argue with like the same thing just done with different colors. You know what I mean? They kept it clean. They kept it simple.
Yeah, I think they kept it super clean. I think they kept it super simple, like you said. It's always hard, and I'm gonna say this, and this is some real shit. It's all the sequel is always, tougher to make better than the first. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Absolutely.
The first were amazing. These are also, I mean, like I said, these are solid. I once again, I mean, I'll definitely try for a pair, but yeah, they're knocking it out the park. They're definitely killing it.
We should note that so Teddy Santis is going to be the creative director of New Balance in 2022. So congratulations to him.
Explain who that is to the listeners.
To the listeners.
You put me on a little on spot.
Exactly.
I think exactly.
You just throw names out here like you're supposed to know, but you don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't want it to be a situation where I misspeak on this guy. So I mean, basically, just do your homework. Just Teddy Santis, he's a very respected figure out here. I just don't want to say anything other than congratulations. And for anybody that wants information, you can let me make sure my facts are correct, and I'll hit me in the DM or the Discord, and we can discuss after.
Yes, we can discuss after. Also, I promised that I would do some Chinatown market replacement names. We'll do that next week. All right.
Okay.
We'll have some fun. I've been delayed. All right. I can't think of any names. It's very hard to do. That's a very hard formula to follow. Give me a break, guys.
Okay. Well, I should bring the context together though. He is Ame. He works for he's on the Ame side of things, but now he's going to work directly with New Balance.
Gotcha. Okay.
Lawrence, you were talking about sequel sneakers and how it's very tough to follow the original. I think we could take this opportunity to kind of talk more about these Travis Scott sixes.
Yeah, let's dive in.
So now we're getting closer looks at these sneakers. Obviously, this is the second iteration of the six. We've got a nice little side pocket as well. How do we feel? What do we feel about these? We went over these glow in the dark sneakers. You guys did more of the conversation when these first came out. I wasn't around for that. What was the consensus on glow in the dark big boy sneakers.
I mean, I've always enjoyed glow in the darks. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I can go back as like far as Yeezy ones, you know what I mean? Like where, you know, swooshes glowed in the dark. You know, I'm still a fan of certain glow in the darks. These are cool. I actually, like I said, I kind of, you know, I don't know if I like these a little bit more than the first iteration, but they're definitely a nice clean color shoe, if that makes sense.
A little bit darker than I initially expected. I think from like the early product shots, they looked a little bit lighter. I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of surprised with like the finished, because it's almost like a combination of like the early pictures that we saw plus like those yellow sixes that never made it to market. It's kind
Yeah,
of
the
like
offset ones.
a merge of those two. Very interesting.
You know, going back to the material discussion,
Mhm.
I know the glow in the dark idea is sort of rudimentary
Mhm.
in concept, because like as kids we always liked glow in the dark shit, but on a sneaker that is a very premium material that is costly.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. So anytime you see a glow in the dark sneaker, just know I would consider that more of a premium sneaker just due to the material.
Oh, so my mom was right. I was paying. I was getting premium sneakers from Payless Shoes. That's what you're telling me?
Hilarious.
She was like, she was like, we can't get these. These are expensive people's shoes at Payless Shoes.
Well, I mean, think about all the shoes that at least we care about that are glow in the dark.
Right.
Those are always some like hype level type of shit, like a post-worthy sneaker.
True. Raging Bulls came out this week as well. Anybody any luck on any of them? You know, how do we feel about them?
I feel like those should have stayed back. They should have left those. Those are
in the past.
Yeah, because those are a shoe that you only look at from old photos and you go like, oh yeah, I remember those. But now I'm like, I'm cool. Those just had their moment, I think.
I'm gonna disagree. I think there was so many people, and it's such an interesting trajectory with that sneaker. When they came out, I think it was 2009 or 2008. When those came out as part of the pack, I think it was 2009. When they came out as part of the pack, they were, I think, $300. We weren't really, you know, used to seeing packs, but this was something that Jordan Brand was definitely doing in terms of, you know, we saw the countdown pack take place, I believe, in 2008, and then we saw 2009, and we saw them, and then the 3M, you know, sixes or fives, you know, and I think a lot of times that pack was so obtainable, and we flashed forward maybe 3 or 4 years later, and then this whole wave of Jordan, you know, of people wanting to go back and have this nostalgia and retros and sneakers that sat were now so wanted. And I think this is for the collectors. This is kind of, you know, I don't know how close the 2009s are with the 2021s, but I can understand the hype. I mean, plus the all red Jordan does numbers. I mean, we saw with the Toro Bravo 4s.
Yep.
We've seen the threes, the all red threes do numbers. So, I mean, this isn't surprising.
You know what it is to me, dude? I just see that shoe and I just think of comeback season Drake. I think of just like that, like you said, 09. I think of that whole era. I don't think that shoe necessarily I'm not going to say aged well because it is a classic shoe from that pack, but I don't think it updated well. I don't think it's like within the style that we live in today. It just seems like just like an old shoe, but that's just me.
I get it, but there's also, I mean, to counter that point, and it's so many. There's collectors, there's people who, you know, who missed out on the first drop, who were too young. I mean, I think the fact that, you know, we are getting 12 years later a sneaker that, you know, many people may have slept on, it does bring back memories. It brings, you know, you look at like the Carmines, you look at certain Jordans that to you and I may be a little dated, or maybe something that we may not want to wear in 2021. But there's so many people who are like, fuck, man, I love these sneakers and my other shits are broke on me, you know?
Facts. No, that's true.
I also saw a debate that was going on Twitter. The Amamanier 3s versus the Hyper Royal 1s. Which one do you like more?
I think they're two different. I mean,
yeah, what kind of debate was this?
It was just like, you know, they were kind of releasing around the same time. So
I guess what would you rather buy? I guess.
Yeah, what are you spending? If you could only
on?
chase one rabbit, because, you know, man who chases two rabbits catches none.
Wow, what a philosophy!
That's you know,
you're so deep, Luke.
Dropping gems over here. So if you had to chase one, the Amamanier or the Hyper Royal 1s, which one?
I mean, I think I stated on a previous episode that like those threes to me are nice. I like those threes, so I'd probably chase those.
Yeah, the Alma Manier threes are beautiful. I think I'm getting to the point where, I've said this I think on plenty of podcasts, and just the fact that the way they're doing the ones, man, it's so fucking annoying. And they'll still sell out. They're still wanted, but I get to the point where it's like, man, I'm good with my 10 pair of ones from and all the good colors that I grew up on. So like Hyper Royals, all this shit, I'm good.
What are you doing, Lukey?
I'm getting the Hyper Royals. I like the turbo greens a lot, so like it kind of matches that kind of suede pattern. I like that a lot. Also, I don't know if you guys remember, but my blazers that I used to have, the ice cream pack blazers, my goal is to kind of have a Jordan version of that because my blazers have fallen apart. So I'm trying to have like an ice cream pack situation where I get the turbo greens, the Hyper Royals, and if they do like a pink pair, that'd be perfect. I'll have all three again.
Got you.
Great. So I have my own goals in mind.
It's upsetting. There's a video. It's a hilarious video with Nori and Nas, and Nori was making fun of Nas for wearing Vans. And then Nas started making fun of Nori for wearing it was a pair of black and green ones, and he was like, "Yo, what the fuck? Jordan ain't playing no black and green ones. Them shits is terrible."
The purist mentality.
It's the purest. The because Nas is, I mean, come on, man, motherfucker. Had a fucking a classic in 25, 26 years ago at 19. You know what I mean? The young kid. So he's from that era. You know what I mean? He's seen Jordan. Be Jordan, and I kind of, especially when it comes to ones. Like I can't, there's, I do, with the exception of like the Shattered Backboard series, the fragments, you know what I mean? Like for the most part, like my Jordan 1, what I have is Royals, Chicago's, Black Toes, that I'm in that realm. And then when I start seeing all these new colors, I'm like, I just don't do it for me. You know what I mean? Like it just don't do it. You know what I mean? So I think that's, and I think after 2017, 18-ish, I think they just started, it was like, I don't give a fuck. We just gonna do whatever. Gentry's like, we're gonna fucking put some zippers on these ones and we're gonna make some zoom ones and we just gonna bastardize these ones.
Yeah, let's just really deconstruct, reconstruct, make it the option. Did we ever really cover those zipper ones? The ones that you could zip off?
I also realized, we never really covered those kind of Jordan zip up ones that we were.
Because them shits, I mean, those are like. You guys remember when the zip off pants came around?
The zip off
pants?
Yeah, because you could zip off your pants and then make them shorts.
Make them shorts. Yeah, I remember that. They were kind of like kind of look like almost Janko jeans, but like
we dogged everybody who had that shit. Like, what the fuck you do? Like, pick a side here. Pants or shorts? Why do you got to have that? Because then you're just walking around with half your pants in your pocket. We used to make fun of everybody. That's why I see when I see those zip off ones, I'm like, yo, pick a side, bro.
You're talking about these, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see those, zip ones. It's once again, but they sell out. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. We can fucking make whatever we want, and people are still gonna buy them because they're Jordan ones.
Oh, look at that jewel placement on the toe. Get them out of here, bro. That shit is garbage.
I am not a fan of the double swoosh on these. Yeah, I think as I get older, and I've been listening to you guys yell about this for years, I think that. The bastardization of the Jordan 1 is like, I'm starting to kind of come around on it. When I was younger, I was like, maybe not even younger, like 2 months ago, I was like, you would have caught me saying like, no, it's good because people couldn't get Jordan 1s back in the day and blah, blah, blah. But then the argument kind of just comes back around to, why don't you just re-release the ones that, he wore, right?
Yeah.
And I think it is, as we kind of get away from the Jordan legacy, as we get further and further away from it, because Jordan hasn't played basketball like for the NBA in 20 years now, right?
Almost 18 years.
18, but that's like that. And that was like the Wizards that we're talking about, right?
Yeah, the Bulls.
Right.
Over 20 years. Yeah.
Right. So
Lawrence has a calendar where he has all the dates marked at every game that he played.
I just know. This is information I know that I shouldn't know, but I just know it for some reason.
Right.
But
But like it's the further we get away from the legacy, the brand and the image of the Jordan 1 is gonna change. It's changing more and more every day. Where there are kids who are wearing Jordan 1 sneakers, never saw Michael Jordan play, never even bothered to learn about Michael Jordan, which is kind of crazy to me.
My thing on that too is like, I mean, I'm going to try to play the other side of the fence. Usually I'd be yelling at the kids, but like, it's hard for me to get mad at the kids, like completely, because they don't know. How are we supposed to like, we can't yell at them to educate them. You know what I mean? And this is part of the reason why we have this podcast. You know, it's just so we can help educate and, you know, at least try to get to the other side, like try to meet in the middle somewhere. Yeah, you can't get mad. You have to get mad at Nike. It's their fault for allowing it. They're indulging the kids and they're doing it in the wrong way. There should be some way that like they could be doing some shit like The Last Dance to help educate.
I think The Last Dance was very helpful.
It was very. That's what it was. It was a Jordan piece. Come on, guys, listen. That Last Dance was more about motherfuckers being educated on Jordan ones.
So 4. Come on, that whole episode was a fucking Nike ad.
It's a Nike ad.
No, of course. But I'm saying there's a way to do that isn't such a money grab situation and more on a transparent educational side of things.
Yeah, us.
Yes,
us do this podcast every week. We'll fill you in on what you're missing.
Oh,
but
man.
Yeah, get that fucking zip shit out of here. Get that shit out of don't get the fucking that shit away from me.
Yeah, man, get those zip fucking sneakers out of here, bro.
Conceptually, good idea. But no. But thank you.
Yeah, man. As I sit here and look at my Chicago's versus the Zip one, but no disrespect. I mean, that's the thing, man. And this is a problem because when you start looking and you say, damn, I want a pair of Chicago ones, man, that goddamn. And then you go to the secondary market and it's like, oh, $2,000. It's like, fuck that. Give me the zipper shits. You know what I mean? Like what? Like you have to really break it down that way when you start saying, well, I can only wear Chicago's. All right, Chicago's are $2,000. When you start on the secondary market, when you look at band ones, you know, the black and reds, they're $1,000 now on the secondary market. Black toes, almost $1,000. Like, you know, Royals are one of the cheaper ones and they're like $500-$600 right now. So it's kind of like, it almost is like, all right, well, we got you fiended out for these joints. We ain't gonna give you these unless you pay, you know, a mortgage for them, and not many people doing that. So we're gonna give you these bullshits because we know that you want what you want. And that's the way that's where Jordan Brand, because they could easily fucking put out a Chicago every year or every other year. You know, it's like, why do we have 85, 94, and then 21 years later in 2015, that's our Chicago. You know what I mean? That's what we got at Chicago's. And then it's like, oh, man, well, hopefully. And then every day, you know, and the people in the Discord and our fucking SupFM Discord are sending, oh, man, Chicago's, I think they're coming out. And it's like, oh, it's April Fool's, dog. There's no. But that's the way that this thing is. And it's so fucked up because, like, all right, well, when's the next time Chicago's coming out? And then, so, you know, you hear rumors. It's like maybe for the 40th anniversary, which would be, you know, in another, you know, 4 years, maybe.
Insane.
But who knows?
But the even idea of 40th anniversary is wild.
You guys are getting old.
We're getting to half a century of sneakers. You know what I mean? Like we're closer to a half a century. That word itself is just crazy to say than anything else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think, you know, I think we gotta, you know, we really look at, I mean, and even when you look at like the collabs with the Chicago color, the off-white Chicago ones. I mean, that's a $6,000 sneaker on the secondary market. Like it doesn't, you know what I mean? For the people who really genuinely love them. We also got a 2013 model, but that was garbage.
Yep.
So it's you know, it does suck. But then, you know, so that's why I can't really truly knock people who just are like, yo, just give me some Hyper Royals, give me some turbos, I like the pollen joints. I like the B pollen joints that are coming out. I don't like the Nike emblem placement, but I like the B pollens. I mean, it is what it is, man. So
yeah, and then like, you know, just it always just goes back to we can't get it, so then it's just like, all right, let's just make it ourselves, and then we got the situation like we were talking earlier.
Yeah, it's true. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, you're right. We've almost had like half a century of sneaker game kind of situation where
let's say that it's almost a half a century of hype. I guess that's the best way to sort of roundabout say it.
Do you think back in the day, like in the 1800s or whatever, when they're wearing buckles on their shoes, do you think anybody was like crazy about their buckle shoes? They were like, oh, you got the gold buckle shoes, you got the silver
you know
buckle.
what? Yes, absolutely, dog. There's no way that this didn't exist back then.
It had to, right? Like,
I mean, it's a class. What do you think? Royalty was wearing paper bags on this shit? No, them shits was fly as fuck. I'm sure they look crazy to us now, but back then I'm sure that shit was fucking gold buckles versus the fucking, you know, like a hoof.
Silver buckles were mids. You like silver buckles.
Ah, look at this bitch ass got bronze on his shit. Look at bronze, you fucking rusty piece of shit.
Bronze. Why don't you just tell us you're poor?
This guy got a potato sack sneaker. Get this fucking guy out of here. But that's what it is, bro. It's classism. Kind of, not to, be weird about it.
It's the truth, and it's sad. It really is. I mean, as I get older, man, like I always say, man, like it just feels like, and you put the sneaker on, and like, back in the days, like when I was younger, I was like, oh man, I got a dope show. I'm about to fucking wild out, put some OD shit on. And I guess maybe because, things are a little different. Like I don't feel that same love anymore. I mean, I ain't out the game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the classism shit just feels, just a real fucking thing.
That's true. You've been, anytime I see somebody trying to gas you up on your sneakers in like a club or something, you'll be like, nah, man, these are just shoes,
It's just shoes, man.
Very humble man when it comes to that.
I mean, and I'll say that, because I see so many comics, and I've been in situations where I'm like, dude, come on, man, you ain't like, I've seen people, and I'll say this on this podcast, I've seen comics make some dude, complimented a dude on his sneakers, and he was like, and I guess he said the wrong model, and the comic like tried to make him feel stupid because of the wrong model, and I'm like, bro, like just. It's not that serious, man. It
was like me. I did that. I was trying to be superior. I was like,
well,
it's idiot. It's not a Jordan 2, stupid.
There is a situation where if like you people are us, if we do it, we should get called out. Like when I got called out for misspeaking about Tinker Hatfield. Yeah.
Peter Moore.
Which I should eat that. That's me. I'm like we were just saying, I'm supposed to help inform. Yeah, I'm like, and I do. It's just a situation where I misspoke, and you guys should point the finger and go, "Ha, bitch, you got that shit wrong." And I'm like, I gotta eat that. You know what I mean? But like a regular dude, just let him take the compliment, bro.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I think that's what a lot of people need to understand in this shit, man. It's like, come on, man, this is all material shit. These shit's gonna break apart anyway, and and it's like, all right, what I mean? We all should have bigger goals than just fucking being dripped out kings, you know what I mean? Like it's bigger goals in life. So I think that's don't get it twisted, because if I have to, I'll step out on all y'all. Not you guys, but I'm just saying in general.
No, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm behind this message. On us
too, man. We know what you got. You got some fucking heat.
So I'm just saying, like, it ain't, we ain't out here trying to make people feel stupid, you know what I mean? And that's one thing I'll say with all the listeners. People message me and shit, and it's just like, yo, dude, like I ain't never gonna try to make you feel like you ain't, just because you ain't got this from 2014 that you ain't shit. Like, nah, everyone starts somewhere, you know what I mean? So just keep doing, buy what you like, wear what you like, and treat everyone with respect.
Hell yeah. Lawrence, where can they find your podcast?
You can find my podcast on all streaming platforms. I Hate This Job. Like I said, listen to the Luke episode. It's fucking funny. We had a good heartfelt conversation about, raises and getting
books and all that shit, man.
25 cents, bro.
Anxiety. We talked about anxiety.
Too. Yeah, man. So follow that. I Hate This Job pod. Follow me on social media, LZD325. Luke, where can they find you, bro?
You can find me at Trevisus on Instagram and Twitter. Mostly on Instagram. My YouTube channel has a new stand-up clip on it. Luke Trevisi does a cocaine joke. Watch that. What else do I have? On April 29th, I will be doing a fundraiser for Stop AAP I Hate. It's going to be on Twitch. More information will be coming out later in the week, but just be on the lookout for that. We're going to be playing Among Us. It's going to be fun. Bunch of Filipinos and making money for good. Chris, where can we find you?
At Not That Cheney, CHENEY on all socials, and also make sure the podcast, follow us on Instagram, at SupPodcast NYC, the Discord. We're going to get our TikTok game popping eventually. We got a bunch of good stuff coming in the pipeline. I will say, I've been kind of slyly mentioning it, but there's a Timberland and A-Life thing that got pushed to May. It was supposed to come out originally right now, but May, that's going to drop, and you might see your boy here in some of the campaign imagery. I don't know which ones they're using or not, but depending on which one they use, I might be looking crazy out here.
May is roasting season. Remember that, boys.
Yes, sir.
And then, Lawrence's podcast. Oh, also, Sold Out Tuesday is coming back unofficially. I'm in the talks of working out with what the first date's going to be, but like stand-up's coming back, guys. So you'll be able to see your boys working back in action. Me and Luke got to get unrusted.
Well, I'll bring the Supreme mic so you guys can see it in person.
Ooh, ooh.
I love it. Do it.
Yes.
So that's it, guys.
Thank you for listening as always, y'all. So keep supporting. Give us 5 stars. Rate us, review us, leave great comments. Join the Discord. Discord is so fun. And yeah, that's it. Till next week.
Peace.
All right, guys. Peace.